ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यम् श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यम् तं तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। अपार करुणा सिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्रीचन्द्रशेखरगुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वहम्। यत्कृपालेशमात्रेण पुमान् पूर्णः प्रजायते तं वन्दे ब्रह्मविद्धुर्यं सद्गुरुं चन्द्रशेखरम्। संसारसागरनिमग्नजनोदितीर्षुः यो वातरच्छिवनृसिंहगुरुच्छलेन जाड्यान्धकारहरणं करुणासमुद्रम् तं दक्षिणास्य मनिशं हृदि भावयामि। सदात्मध्याननिरतं विषयेभ्यः पराङ्खम् नौमि शास्त्रेषु निष्णातं चन्द्रशेखरभारतीम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणं तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारम् प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्तगोचरं तमगोचरम्
सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्तगोचरं
सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्तगोचरं
तमगोचरम्
तमगोचरम्
गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्।
गोविन्दं
गोविन्दं परमानन्दं
परमानन्दं
सद्गुरुं
सद्गुरुं
प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्।
प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्।
You have seen the shloka number 9 along with the Vyakyanam. Now the next shloka, shloka number 10. The topic is, as I said, from the fifth shloka onwards, Atma Jnanam, Atma Jnanam and Vicharaha. Jnanam and Jnana Sadhanam, that is discussed. Up to the 11th shloka. So let us read the shloka and then we will see the Vyakyanam. First read the shloka, understand the simple meaning, and then the Vyakyanam. Shloka number 10. Sanyasya sarvakarmani bhavabandha vimuktaye
सन्न्यस्य
सन्न्यस्य सर्वकर्माणि
सर्वकर्माणि
भवबन्धविमुक्तये
भवबन्धविमुक्तये
यत्यतां पण्डितैर्धीरैः आत्माभ्यासमुपस्थितैः
यत्यतां
यतां
पण्डितैर्धीरैः
पण्डितैर्धीरैः
आत्माभ्यास
आत्माभ्यास
उपस्थितैः
उपस्थितैः
Panditairdhirai that also we can do. Kshamitam, I think shloka number 9 we skipped. We have not seen shloka number 9, right? This we have to see. Okay, we will read both the shloka and then we will see the Vyakyanam in detail. Let us stand this also. Shloka number 8 was Ato Vimuktei Prayeteta Vidwan. That shloka which we saw in detail, it went for 3-4 classes. That shloka number 9, sorry, I skipped this. उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं मग्नं संसारवारिधौ
उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं
उद्धरेत्मात्मानं
संसारवारिधौ
संसारस्मदौ
योगारूढत्वमासाद्य सम्यक् दर्शननिष्ठया
योगारूढत्वमासाद्य
योगारूढत्वमासाद्य
सम्यक्
सम्यक्
दर्शननिष्ठया
दर्शननिष्ठया
संग्रहेण उक्तमर्थं सप्तभिः श्लोकैः विवृणोति शङ्करभगवत्पादाः विवृण्वन्ति आचार्यः शङ्करभगवत्पादः विवृणोति विवरणं करोति. He explains in detail in 7 shlokas, saptabhihi shlokaihi, in 7 shlokas, the meaning of that which was said very briefly in the 8th shloka. Sangrahena is concisely, very briefly. Uttamartham, the meaning which is told, that is further elaborated by the Acharya. Iti Vyakyanakara Chandrasekhar Bharati Tita Swamigal says, So starting from this shloka onwards, 9th shloka, including this shloka, up to the 15th shloka. The meaning of the eighth shloka is elaborated. Sangrahena uktam artham. Artham, the meaning. Meaning of what? Meaning of the interpretation of Ato vimukte prayateta vidvan. The previous shloka is elaborated. Tatra muktyartam kriyamana prayatnasya samyak darshana nishtantatvat moksha sakshat sadhanam samyak darshana nishtam tatra mukya hetum Paravairagya aparaparyayam yoga rudhatvam cha aha anena shlokena. Iti uktva, the shloka begins, which we chanted. Tatra muktyartam. Muktyartam muktyai for moksha. Mukti moksha. Freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from samsara. Samsara, that is in the form of this jananam and maranam cycle. That janna marana cycle is due to the ajnanam. It continues because of ajnana. So ajnana is the cause. If ajnanam is the cause, if ignorance is the cause, then knowledge is the solution. Therefore, muktyartam jnanam apekshate. So jnanam is required for mukti. Jnanena eva mokshaha iti. So it doesn't mean karma and upasana, they are not required. They have their own place. They have their respective places. Respectable places. Kriyamana prayatnasya. A sadhaka, a mumukshu, a jignasu. Kriyamana prayatnasya. Prayatna, the effort. Yatnam. Prakarshena yatnam. Kriyamana prayatnasya. For the one who puts effort. If the effort which is put forth by the sadhaka. And that culminates in what? Samyak darshana nishtantatvat. Anta is end. So that culminates in the nishta, which is in the form of samyak darshanam, clear vision of the Atma. Who am I? That is samyak darshanam, the clear understanding of the swarupa of oneself. Now, what is the understanding? Now, the understanding is Aham Shariri, Aham Shariravan, Aham Purushaha, Artava Stri, Mama Nama, so and so, and Mama Vayaha, and Mama, whatever it is there in your resume, all these are, this is what we consider ourselves to be. That is, they are all the properties of the Shariram. Either properties of the Shariram, name is also property. The name is not for the Atma. What is your name? You say your name. That is a label, that is a title, an appellation given to the Shariram, not to the Atma. It is just a name given to the Shariram. Similarly, everything else, either it is associated with the Shariram or with the mind, I am angry. Mama krodaha asti aham krudaha aham kupitavan. All these are properties of the mind. Similarly with the sense organs. Similarly with the feelings, emotions, worries, anxieties, everything. So therefore, this aham is mixed up with that which is not aham, anatma. So atma is mixed up with anatma. Therefore, this mixing up, this is what we call technically chit jada granthi. There is a granthi, there is a knot, a strong knot between the atma and anatma. Therefore, there is no clear understanding of who the self is, atma is. That is why Shastram, that is why Guru Upasadanam, Shastra Adhyanam, in order to gain the clear knowledge of, clear understanding of the self. So it's clear understanding, clear vision, because we have a distorted vision, a wrong vision. The wrong vision is the cause for samsara, for suffering. Taking myself to be bound by the conditions of the anatma. Therefore, I become a samsari jiva. But the truth of the jiva is Brahma, which is not subject to any sort of limitations. It is ever free. Muktaha, it is Sachit Ananda Swarupaha. The Shastram says that vision. So this Shastra Adhyayanam, that is the Jnana Yoga, culminates in that vision, Samyak Darshanam, in the understanding of that Aham Atma iti. That is what Samyak Darshanam. And Nishta in that, Itaram Stitihi, abiding in that knowledge, unshakably, unflinching. So, therefore, the prayatna, the effort which is put forth by the sadhaka, it culminates in the clear understanding of the Atma. Therefore, it means jnanam. And nishta in that jnanam. Samyak darshan nishta is jnana nishta. So, it starts with, our spiritual journey starts with karma, first karma yoga. By karma yoga, the malas like raga, dvesha, etc. Desam nivrittihi. And in upasanaya chitta naischalyam. Then jnanam. Without karma, karma yoga and upasana, one cannot come to Vedanta. It is, even if one comes, either it will be detrimental, or if the person is very sincere and has come to Vedanta, the Vedanta study will not give the fruit immediately, but it gives the yogyata. It gives the adhikaritam. And after adhikaritam, after gaining adhikaritam, one has to continue to do the vichara, atma vichara. Then only nishta in the jnanam and moksha. So therefore, kriyamana prayatnasya, whatever the effort a mumukshu, as a mumukshu he exerts in the form of yoga, karma yoga, upasana, and when it comes to jnana yoga, guru pasadanam, shamanam, mananam. Shamanam is listening to the shastra. Punaha shamanam, again and again listening to the shastra. And mananam. Mananam reflecting on the teaching of the shastram to remove the possible doubts. That is called knowledge that which is free from any doubts. Doubt-free knowledge. Pratibandha jnanam is ajnana. That is why mananam. All the possible doubts, in spite of listening to Shastram. Shastram say tatutvam, you are that. You are never bound. So to say that aham samsari is itself is not correct. It is a self-conclusion. Shastram says it is not. But in spite of listening to the Mahavakya many times through the study of Upanishads, other granthas, still we don't have that conviction because there is some doubt, there are some doubts lingering. Am I that? Am I that Vastu which is the Karanam for this Jagat? I am such a puny creature. How can I be the cause of this Jagat, which is Brahma? How can I be Brahma? Brahma is the word itself derived from the Dhatu Bhrugi Vruddhav, that which doesn't have any limitation. It is total. It is Purnam. How can I be that Purnam? The doubt lingers. These doubts, as long as the doubts are there, one has to keep reflecting the Shastram to remove the possible doubts. And then Nididhyasanam, meditating, that is a real meditation. We don't really know what meditation is unless we come to Vedanta. Every other meditation is meditating either on a form or on some the form of a thing or form of a devata, or meditating on some sounds. That is focus actually. It is focusing. The real meditation with the form, that is Saguna Upasana. That becomes Saguna. It is Upasana. If meditation is done with the support of a form, then it is Upasana. So that is meditation, that is done on the Brahma Vastu, which doesn't have any form, formless. We cannot meditate on the formless Brahma in the beginning. That is why we take the support of Omkara, Omkara Dhyanam. There are many upasanas mentioned. Omkara Upasana, Samhita Upasana, or any other Devata Upasana, meditation. When the object of meditation is Atma, Brahma, which is formless, that is Nirguna Brahma Dhyanam, we say. That is meditation. Nididhyasanam. In Vedantic terminology, we use the word Nididhyasanam. By Nididhyasanam, so starting from Jnana Yoga starts from Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Constantly meditating or bringing to awareness the teaching that I am not a samsari. Because of the strong previous orientation, again and again the thought, I am so and so, I am limited, I am dukkhi, I am samsari. You either associated with the afflictions of the shariram or of the mind or with those things which are connected through the shariram. You always think of yourself as something, a suffering being. That is not you are. Body, mind will have sufferings even after jnana. That is the nature of the body. That one cannot avoid. Old age, not avoidable. One has to undergo one's karma. But jnanam makes oneself and understand that this sufferings and it's all natural, it belongs to the body, not to me. So you are not disturbed by, shaken by those sufferings. You look at objectively. You look at very objectively. So therefore, the upadhi suffers, but I don't suffer. I accept the suffering of the upadhi. Upadhi being upadhi. The sharira mana sangata being upadhi. It has to undergo its natural courses. So I don't have any agenda for it. I just accept. But I'm not belong to, I'm not conditioned by this. I continue to be without that, with upadhi or without upadhi. Aham sada asmi, aham asmi only. Natu aham shariravan, aham this upadhi sagita Jivaha, that notion, that's a notion that goes away in the wake of jnana. That has to happen. That is what is Nishtha is. You are never shaken or never taken away from the knowledge. It becomes so natural, so spontaneous all the time because of Nitidhyasram. That is called Nishtha. That is called Nishtha Nitaram Sitihi. It doesn't mean that you should not sleep and all. Sleep, dreaming, everything is natural. But you never move away from that vision of the truth. That is Nishtha. So therefore, this Muktyartham Kriyamanasya Prayatnasya, the Prayatna should culminate in that Nishtha, and that is in the form of clear vision of Atma. Therefore, Mokshasya, Kim Sadhanam, Mokshasya, Sakshat Sadhanam is this Jnanam, knowledge. And that is in the form of Nishtha, this Nitaram Sthitihi, abiding in this vision of the truth. Samyak Dhanashnishtam. Tatra Mukhya Hetum. What is the primary cause for that? Primary cause for abiding in the vision of the truth of oneself. That is Paravairagya, Paravairagyam, Vairagyam. Vairagyam is the Mukhya Hetu. Means the sadhaka must be a Vairagi, must have dispassion, must have objectivity. The sadhaka is not carried over by the Vishayas of the world. It's not carried over by Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasagandha. All the time, except sleeping time, the waking hours, or even in the dream also. All the time, we are in contact with the Vishayas. Our sense organs, five sense organs, they are intensely active or active, always in contact with the sense objects. All the time we experience something, either in the form of Shabda, sound, Sparsha, touch, Rupa, seeing, form, Rasa, taste, Gandha, smell. If you analyze our whole transaction comes under this only five category. To say five sense organs, we operate. And this Sparsha, which is spread all over, even if you don't do anything, the wind blows, you feel the wind. You're in, you are experiencing the Sparsha. So all the time, and mind always thinks about something. So sense organs function backed up by the mind, and it is in contact with these five Vishayas always. From this, therefore, it is naturally the mind is extrovert. This extrovertedness is the biggest obstacle. Therefore, because it carries us away from ourselves. Therefore, it has to be withdrawn. It has to be withdrawn. Why it is carried over by the Vishayas? Because we have our likes and dislikes. Raga, Dvesha for Vishayas of the world. Therefore, we are carried away by the Vishayas. Our sense organs are carried away. Our sense organs means we are carried away by the Vishayas of the world. Therefore, we have to withdraw from all this. Physical withdrawal is one thing. In fact, that is what we say Dhamma. Shama is withdrawing the mind. Dhamma is withdrawing the sense organ. But it should be backed up by the understanding that Vishayas are the Vishayas, they are dukkha hetuhu. It will cause pain. It may seem to give sukha in the beginning, but it will end up in pain only. You see sukha because of your adhyasa. It's called shobhana adhyasa. You look upon something as very pleasant, not that object is pleasant. That is your coloring of the object as pleasant. The same object which is pleasant, now later it may become unpleasant. That is what we face in life. The person whom I love becomes an object of intense hatred later. So it is a love and hate. Hate is a flip side of love. Similarly, where hate is, love is a flip side. Therefore, can't avoid it. Therefore, it takes away your energy, your time, everything. That is why Vairagya is important. Look upon those Vishayas, look upon the things, look upon the world as it is. Don't add anything extra to it. That is Vairagya. The Vairagya is a Mukhya Hetu, is a primary or important cause for gaining this vision of oneself, Atma. And another name for that is Yoga Rudatvam, the language of the Gita. Yoga Rudatvam, Yoga Rudaha, the word is used in the Gita. Here Acharya says, Paravairagya, Paraparyayam. Another Paryaya Shabda is Yoga Rudatvam, the status of being the one who has climbed up the yoga. Aruda means climbed up. Climbing up means not physically climbing up. It means Yoga Ruda, one who has the yoga, that is Yoga Rudatvam, Jnana Yoga Rudatvam, who has gained this objectivity. Yoga Rudatvam. For Jnana Yoga, what is required? The person has to be a sadhana chatushtaya sampannaha, about which will be discussed later. The person must be endowed with sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, fourfold things that makes a person a qualified person for adhikari for Jnana Yoga. So, Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadamadi, and Mukshuttam, as we saw. This is going to be elaborated later by the Acharya, each one. So, among them, this Mukhya Hetu is Vairagya. And in here, the word Yoga Rudatvam is used. So, Yoga Rudatvam, the status of being the one who has prepared himself for Jnana Yoga by Vairagyam. So, Yoga Rudatvam is equated to Vairagya. Cha aha anena shlokena. So, therefore, Yoga Rudatvam is the primary cause, Mukhya Hetu for Samyak Darshana Nishtha, for abiding in that knowledge. Nishtha is abiding in oneself. You are not carried away by the Vishayas of the world. You are not carried away by Anatma. Therefore, it means what? It means Vairagya. Without Vairagya, how can there be Nishtha? If you are extrovert, mind is scattered all over, not focused, not able to withdraw the mind from the Vishayas, then there cannot be Nishtha. So it has to be withdrawn out of understanding. That is why we say objectivity. That is Vairagyam. This passion, that is the common translation you find. You have got Raga, Dvesha, therefore you are all over. Even though you are seated in this Shariram, but you're all over. Your mind is all over. When your mind is all over, how can you enjoy Nishtha in yourself? That we can see when we sit in the seat of meditation. Just close your eyes and then see. Our mind goes all over. Not able, not just to remain with itself. Because we have got Raga, we have got Dvesha. There is no Vairagya. That is why in the 6th chapter, if you see the Gita, when Arjuna asked, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna, pravati phala vadridam. This mind is very fickle, chanchalatmaka. How to gain mastery over the mind? He says only two things. One is by practice, abhyasaha. Other one is vairagyam. As long as you don't have objectivity, as long as you are not free from passion, attraction for the Vishayas of the world, this is not possible. But Manachanchalam will be there. So Vairagyam is required. Abhyasa is one, and second thing, important thing is Vairagyam. So this Para Vairagyam, here it is called Yoga Rudaha. So therefore in the shloka, ninth shloka, Acharya says, Uddaredatmanatmanam magnam samsara bharidhau yogarudhatvam asadhya samyak darshana nishtaya. Yogarudhatvam asadhya samyak darshana nishtaya. Atmana atmanam uddaret. Kidrisham atmanam magnam samsara varidau magnam atmanam atmana uddaret. This is the Anvaya. We have to do Sandhi Vicheda and rearrange the shloka, rearrange the words in the meaning of in the words of the shloka, then meaning becomes clear. So Yoga Rodatvam Asadhya. Yoga Rodatvam Asadhya. Yoga Rodatvam, as I told, it is Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. And here the Acharya, among the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, he equates that to Vairagya. The Vyakyanam. So, before entering into Atma Vichara, Shastra Vichara, a Mumukshu, a Jignasu, I use the word Mumukshu and Jignasu synonymously, but there is a difference. I hope you know the difference. Mumukshu is Muktum Ichuhu, the one who is desirous of moksha. And moksha is possible only through jnana, not by any other means. Therefore, he pursues Shastra Adhyayana from a teacher. Therefore, Jignasu. A Mumukshu has to become a Jignasu. A Mumukshu should become a Jignasu, then only moksha is possible. If a Mumukshu is, instead of becoming Jignasu, he has got desire for moksha, but there are so many spiritual organizations or spiritual techniques in the market available in the spiritual market. The person is carried over by that. Use of Shastram, no Jnana Yoga. Even Guru is also not required. Then he continues to be a Mumukshu only. Not only in this life, in all the upcoming life also, he will be a Mumukshu, just seeking moksha, because what he seeks is freedom. And that will not be there in what he in the sought. Because what he seeks, that freedom, he seeks in the wrong place, the wrong things. So therefore he will continue to be a seeker. The seeker ship culminates in the person becomes a jignasu. Clear understanding that problem is ajnanam, problem is samsara. The samsara problem for which the cause is ajnanam, and the ajnanam can go only by knowledge. Then only becomes a jignasu. Here we use the word mumukshu. So far we have not come across the word jignasu, because in the tradition it is understood if a person is a mumukshu, he naturally comes to the study of shastram. Therefore, jignasu is understood. This is an important conversion. Swami uses the word conversion. This is a real conversion. Other conversions are all seeming conversion, not real conversion. The mumukshu has to be a jignasu. You could be a mumukshu, but still you can continue to perform some puja, upasana, continue all your life. Puja, upasana, it is fine, but they are only the means for jnana yoga. it will not give moksha. So unless you come to the Shastram, unless you study Shastram and gain knowledge and and develop nishtha in that knowledge, moksha is not possible because the cause is ajnanam. How will ajnanam go away? Not by, that is why Acharya said before, patantu shastrani yajantu devan bhajantu. So many things he said. You study Vini Shastram, so what? So what happens? Patantu Shastram, you become a Vidwan. Then Kurvantu Karmani, you do varieties of karma. Bhajantu Devataha, Yajantu Devan. Atmaika Bodhena, Vina Vimuktihi, na Siddhyati. Atmaika Bodhena Vina, Vimuktihi na Siddhyati. Therefore, the person becomes a Jignasu. So, wherever we use the word Mumukshu, being a Vedantic student, therefore we understand it is Jignasu. Jnatum Icha, Jnatum Ichuhu, that desire to know, and one who is desirous of knowing is called a Jignasu. So, therefore, here, when the person enters into the Atma Vichara, Shastra Vichara, Atma Vichara is in the form of Shastra Vichara. Otherwise, what Atma Vichara is? Atma Vichara without Shastra Vichara, not possible. Atma Vichara, who am I? Who am I? This inquiry, this meditation, who am I meditation? How will you meditate? What will you inquire if you don't know what is this I am? I am, the nature of I am has to be known. Then only the meditation is possible. Then only you can remove all that which is not I. So I has to be known. Then only you can remove. What is this I? The I which cannot be defined. The Atma cannot be defined. But Shastra defines in a negative way. Atma is not that, not this, not that. So, therefore, removing, minus all that. What is that? Which is the witness of everything. That doesn't undergo any change. That does not limited by space, not limited by time, not limited by the upadhi, the shariram, the periphery of the body. That is what I is. Then only your mind abides in that. Therefore, without Shastram, how will you come to know? In the Gita, second chapter, starting from the 11th shloka up to 39th shloka, very clearly the description of what Atma is given. Atma is Nityaha, it is Satyaha, न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः नैनं चिन्तन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः अव्ययम्, it is अव्यक्तोयम् अचिन्त्योयम् अविकार्योयम् उच्यते. All these are talked about similar in the Upanishads. Therefore, it is vichara into Atma. Then only the meditation, nididhyasanam, is possible. Therefore, our inquiry starts with the Jnana Vichara, that is in the form of Atma, that is Atma Vichara in the form of Jnana Vichara. But that for the Vichara, for that inquiry, the person must have the Yogyata. Anything to they want to accomplish in the world, it requires certain qualification, Yogyata. Without that Yogyata, we cannot accomplish. Without developing the Yogyata, without gaining that qualification, we cannot gain that knowledge. Minimum to become a doctor or engineer, I must have completed +2 Yogyata. I must have studied, completed +2. So that is a Yogyata qualification. Similarly, Yogyata for everything, even for marriage, Yogyata. I must have completed that minimum age. So Yogyata is there. So therefore, for Vichara, Atma Vichara also, Yogyata is required. That is fitness, the qualification for inquiry into the Atma, that Yogyata, that is what here Yoga Rudatvam is mentioned by the word Yoga Rudatvam. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. That is gained, that qualification, that Adhikaritvam is gained. Yoga Rudatvam is Adhikaritvam. In the Gita, it is said, the one who is Yoga Rudaha, who has gained the Yogyata for Vichara, for him, Jnanam, what is the Karanam? Shamaha. Shamaha Karanam Uchyate. Shamaha is Sannyasaha iti. Gita, it said Shamaha is Sannyasa. Sannyasa is either we can take real physical sannyasa, giving up everything and taking to sannyasa ashrama, because the person is yoga arudaha. He is a yogya purusha. He has got the yogyata. So therefore sannyasa he can take. Or because the person is yoga arudaha, sannyasa is natural. Without taking sannyasa, he is a sannyasi. In whatever ashrama the person is, he is a sannyasi, not by ritual, but by his understanding. He is a sannyasi, nitya sannyasi. Nyayasa nitya sannyasi, yonadveshti nakangshati. Nirdando hi mahavago sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Bhagavan says in the Gita, a karma yogi is a nitya sannyasi. Even though karma yogi is not a sannyasi, when we say karma yogi, he does karma. The person is in grasta ashrama or brahmacharya or whatever the ashrama is. Not a sannyasi, but Bhagavan says he is a nitya sannyasi because he has the attitude of karma yoga. He does karma as a yoga. Karma becomes a yoga when there is an element of Ishvara. When you bring that Ishvara, then only karma becomes yoga. Otherwise, karma is just a karma. So therefore, yoga rudatvam, a person is an adhikari, then shamaha, he has to withdraw from his engagement with the world. That is what is called sannyasaha. Need not be physically sannyasa. A person can be in any ashram and continue to be a sannyasi. Can live like the water droplets on the lotus leaf. That we have to grow to that person. Should not be afraid of that to be. Then only we will be really a sane people, really a productive people, beneficial to the society, beneficial to the family. Otherwise, because of our raga dvesha, we do variety of things, and most of the times it causes harm to us or harm to others. Somewhere I read in some foreign author has said sannyasis are the most sane people in the world. Of course, not all the sannyasis are just said because they have the understanding of clear understanding of the of the vision of life, the truth of life. Therefore, they are the sane people. So all, or otherwise you can say all sane people need not be physical sannyasi, but they have got that sannyasatvam, provided the person is a spiritual person. So therefore, shamaha iti in Gita it is said. Similarly here also yoga rudatvam, the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, it is called sampatti, wealth. Real wealth is gaining the adhikaritvam for the pursuit of jnana yoga. That is a real wealth. It's called sampatti. Sampatti means wealth. It's not a physical wealth. It is the wealth that I embellish myself to be that person. I embellish myself with the values. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, kshanti. All these are the descriptions of me. I don't have the manitvam. In the Gita 13th chapter, 20 spiritual values, qualities, spiritual virtues are talked about. A person must be ahimsa. A person should follow ahimsa. Person should not have more, the person should not have excessive notion or idea about oneself. Similarly, adambitvam, the person should not be ostentatious. The person should be a straightforward. His mind, words, and action, they should be in alignment. Arjavam. So like that, certain values are talked about. These values are, I become those values. These values, when these values are present, then Atma Jnanam is not far away. So in the beginning, I struggled to cultivate the values, but later I become these values. Aham Satyaha, Satyam, I speak the truth. I never speak the lie. That is, in the beginning, it is a sadhana, but later it becomes sadhya. It means speaking truth is spontaneous, natural. I can't even imagine to speak the untruth, Anrutam. Similarly, with regard to ahimsa, Amanitam, Adamitam, Ahimsa, Kshantihi. Kshantihi is just forgiving others, accommodating others, accommodating the shortfalls of others. Nobody is perfect, therefore I accommodate. I don't complain about them, complain about their blemishes, their faults. I accept them because I also was like that. I also had a lot of blemishes. I struggled and overcome, and I am so and so now. Similarly, those people. So accommodate. That accommodation becomes natural. You don't have to work on it because you have become that. You are Kshantavan. So that is what Adhikaritvam is. How it is gained? Only through karma yoga and upasana. Otherwise, it is not possible. Karma yoga and upasana. Karma yoga is doing karma, whatever karma is, samanya, karma is dharma. The dharma in the form of karma, samanya dharma, vishesha dharma, whatever to be done in a given situation, and which is ordained as a dharma for me, I should do it. I should do it pleasantly, not in a, not complaining, without any complaint. Similarly, upasana. So by that, I develop adhikaritvam. I'm really sorry. So that is the adhikaritvam. Then Shastra Pramanya Buddhigi Shraddha. That's another important sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. So all this put together alone is given by the word yoga rudatvam. The person is an adhikari. Then the person yoga rudatvam asadhya, having accomplished, having gained the adhikaritvam. Then by samyak darshana nishtaya, nishta is commitment, committed to leading the life, committed to leading that life which culminates in the vision of the truth of oneself. So therefore nishta, that's why we say jnana nishta, karma nishta. That's a lifestyle. Nishta, commitment. And commitment in the form of darshanam, seeing, understanding. Seeing is understanding. Samyak, clear understanding. So therefore, that is possible how? That is possible. That is commitment to Vedanta Vichara. Commitment to Atma Vichara. Commitment to self-knowledge, self-enquiry. That is Samyak Darshana Nishtaya. So, Yoga Rudatvam first. Having accomplished Yoga Rudatvam Adhikaritvam through Karma and Upasana, then through Samyak Darshana Nishtaya, that is the second stage. Then Atmanam Atmana Uddaret. You lift yourself by yourself. You lift yourself by yourself. Atmana Atmanam. Atmana Tritya Vibhakti. Atmanam Dvitya Vibhakti. So you lift the Atma by Atma. What does it mean? Lift the Atma by Atma. Atma cannot be lifted. Atma is, it is, doesn't have any boundary. It is all pervading. It survives the death of the Shariram. So where is the limit for the Atma? How will you objectify Atma? Therefore, here, the Atmanam, Atmana Uddarete, that Atma is not Sachidananda Atma. Aham Atma without any Upadhi Sahita, Aham Atma, that knowledge happens where? In the mind. So moksha is not for the Atma, because Atma is ever Muktaha. Atma is ever free. But the notion that Aham Atma not free, not Muktaha, that is a problem. And that can be solved only by Jnanam, and Jnanam happens in the Antakaranam, mind, Manaha. So, mind is the cause, mind is the Karanam. In fact, mind is the, so we are not liberating the Atma, we bring in the knowledge in the mind that I am Atma, which is free. So, the knowledge also happens in the mind. So, the mind is the important tool, Karanam. Manaha eva Manushyanam Karanam Bandha Moksha Yoga. Mind alone is a cause for Bandha. Mind alone is a cause for moksha. So if you think means if your mind thinks Aham Bandha means you are Bandha. If mind thinks Aham Muktaha means Muktaha. Not Aham Muktaha wishful thinking. You have to see the truth, and for that mind, because knowledge is involved, knowledge happens only in the Antakaranam. Therefore, make the Antakaranam, make yourself the mind. So here Atmana, by the mind, you have to lift the mind. You have to lift yourself by yourself. Yourself means you're referring to the Antakaranam. The Antakaranam has to be, the mind has to be lifted up. The mind one has to raise the mind up. Rise means up. The Antakaranam, which is before, it is Ashuddha, which is with Ajnanam, ignorance. Now that mind has to become enlightened. The enlightenment is only for the mind, not for the Atma. The mind thinks Aham Atma is Bandhaha iti. Therefore, the teaching is for the mind, not for the Atma. Atma is ever Muktaha. That is what me is. But the mind thinks Aham Bandhaha iti. Therefore, the mind has to be enlightened. Therefore, lift yourself, lift the mind by the mind, Uddaret. And that mind which is immersed in this samsara, varidhi, in this ocean of samsara, this the jiva or mind can be, atma can be jiva. Jiva is one with the mind. One with the mind means he has got abhimana with the mind. So he thinks himself to be what the mind thinks. Therefore, jivaha. So atmana is jivena, jivatmanam. And this jivatma which is immersed, which is submerged in this ocean of samsara, samsara varidhau, samsara varidho saptami bhakti. In this samsara, in this ocean of samsara, this atma, this jivatma, which is magnam, immersed, how will you lift the mind? Who will help you? Guru can only teach, but you have to do all the homework. Lift yourself by yourself. You only can make yourself free from samsara. Guru can only give the teaching, and you have to understand the teaching, assimilate the teaching, and you have to make effort to come out of the samsara. Nobody can lift you from samsara to moksha. You have to lift yourself by yourself. That is why Uddaret Atmana, Jivatmana, Atmanam. And this Atmanam is samsara varido Magnam Atmanam. The Jivatma who is immersed in the samsara varidhi Uddaret. May the Jivatma lift himself by himself. Uddaret. May the person lift himself by himself. Therefore, samsara varido uddaret means it is moksha. So the entire scheme of spiritual, the sadhanas, is just summarized in this shloka. Yogarudatvam is sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Having accomplished yogarudatvam asadhya apurvaka sad dhatu lyaprataya asadhya indeclinable. Having gained the adhikaritvam through karma yoga and upasana, and by samyak darshana nishtha, the nishtha in the clear vision of the truth, and that it means jnana yoga, which implies shamanam, malanam, nididhyasanam, and nishtha in that knowledge. By that, samsara varido magnam, this atma, which is a samsari atma, jivatma, by jiva, atmana, uddaret. He has to lift himself from this being a samsari to a muktaha, a moksha, a mukta purusha. It is the entire spiritual sadhana. The sequence is given. The krama is given. So yoga rudatvam is a primary qualification, primary thing. Samyak darshana nishtha, that is jnanam, that is a means for moksha, uddaret. So without yoga rudatvam, samyak darshana nishtha is not possible. Without samyak darshana nishtha, that is knowledge, uddaranam, samsarat uddaranam, utharanam, rising above samsara is not possible. It means mukti is not possible. Moksha is not possible. Therefore, moksha is brahmashatantarepi. Brahmashatantarepi atmika bodhena vina vimuktihi na siddhyati. Therefore, all the sadhana, karma yoga, upasana, and jnana yoga, and jnana yogena mokshaha siddhyati. The entire thing is summarized beautifully in this shloka. Vyakhyanam part of it, we will see the next shloka. Sorry, in the next class, Shumita. Very sorry for my coughing. I'll stop here. Om Purnamadah Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavadha.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಅಜ್ಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಗುರುಜಿ.